Okay, we're back to Being in Time, the second video. There's 3 more chapters written now, and I'll just keep reading on. Now we jump ahead to Timeless Time. John Keats. The creation of art is the most important thing in the world. Johann Sebastian Bach. I agree. I love creating music. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Me too. Listen to all these beautiful harmonies that we have created. Michelangelo. Sculpting and painting is my thing. Sometimes they even amaze myself since I can go for days and months at a time. Then when I take the time to examine my work, I can just sit there and adore it for just as long. I wonder where it even comes from, to be honest with you. It's almost like God works through me with a spark of intrinsic inspiration. Pythagoras. I really have grown to love the work that you guys do. It reminds me of the beauty of mathematics, but on an even deeper level for some reason. The symmetry of it all is really something special to me. I could sit in a room full of your art and listen to your music for the rest of eternity. That would just be heaven. Raphael. Listen to the intricacies of those violins and cellos together. You almost can sense what each and every note is going to be, even upon the first listening to some of your work. It's almost like it was preordained as a godlike orchestration. Yet it is so fresh and new that I could never get tired of it. Johann Sebastian Bach. One of the keys to our greatness is that it has never been done before, but also that it can never lose its luster. John Keats. It's interesting that art can be depicted in so many ways, such as creative writing, music, sculpting, painting, mathematical formulas, and even metaphysical ideas. It has all this transcendent, undefinable quality and beauty to it. Hermann Hesse. The glass bead game is the perfect place for us to merge all these beautiful things together. We get one big, giant, glorious reality out of it all. I don't know that even God himself could do it better than this. Mark Rodite. There is so much satisfaction being part of all this with you guys that I can't even express it in words. Being an author, a philosopher, and an artist myself here in the house on the hill is like a magical fantasy. I know none of this could ever happen or be appreciated in the real world, but it doesn't matter for some reason. This is all real to me, and that is all that matters. Hermann Hesse. We're glad to have you aboard, Markadite. Everyone is welcome to be a god here in the glass bead game if they want. We would never judge anyone here, but we would like to keep the evil people out for the most part if that's possible. That's our only criteria, I guess. Rest assured, though, that this is a very real place. Michelangelo. That's right. If you dedicate your life to creating beautiful things, it is inevitable that you will ultimately get beautiful things. Isn't that strange how simple it all is? Gottfried Leibniz. I love coming up with new mathematical equations. There is that aha moment when you figure something out, but also just watching the sunrise every day can have that same effect on me. It is the appreciation of the magnitude of God creating a new day that can be so overwhelming. Richard Bach. I love it. I love watching birds fly in the sky. It's like they have no limits at all. Rene Descartes. What's interesting is that you don't necessarily have to create anything new to experience a perfect state of being. It's the appreciation of being itself that can be the most inspiring. James Joyce. Yes, I have to agree with that. Appreciation is such a key word. The mere amazement of existence, I guess. Ludwig van Beethoven. Yes, everyone should learn that the significance of the word appreciation. I appreciate other great works of music. It doesn't matter whether I created it or not. It still is here for all of us to enjoy. So I can appreciate the fact that other composers are here to create as well. It comes from God anyway, whether it came through me or another person. Johann von Goethe. I love creating and listening to great works of poetry. It is amazing how the correct usage and sequence of words can invoke such emotions within myself. Immanuel Kant. I love going for long walks every night. It is such a peaceful time for me to think deep philosophical thoughts. Cathion. I love the act of childbirth, even though it was extremely painful. It is unbelievable that God can create another human being for us to love. Isn't that utterly amazing? Yes, Cathion, The creation of life itself is the most amazing thing of all. Thank God for our minds so that we can have all these wonderful thoughts and experiences. Group. Thanks God, we really do appreciate everything that you do for us. Jump forward to 1800 AD. Thomas Young. This is so interesting that I have created the double slit experiment here in 1805, given that we barely understand anything about the universe yet. The fact that one photon can create a wave pattern on the back wall of my experiment by going through two slits at the same time is really blowing my mind. It's almost like one photon can be in two places at the same time. I bet it will take over 100 years before anyone will believe me about my findings. Erwin Schrödinger. You think that's crazy? Wait until I have to tell everyone that two cats can exist in dual states of reality. They're going to withhold a Nobel Prize from me for that one. James Clerk Maxwell. I know what you mean. People get labeled as crazy or satanic if they ever discover anything radically new. Wait until I have to tell them that I unified electricity and magnetism together and that it's one of the four most fundamental forces in nature. They're really going to think that I'm the devil. Isaac Newton. That reminds me of when I discovered the laws of motion and gravity. I had to convince people that the same laws applied to an apple here on Earth as well to all of the planets in the entire universe. I was almost deified for that one until everyone realized that the implications of my discovery was that the world was entirely deterministic and that no one had a free will. Gottfried Leibniz. Or how about when we both independently invented calculus? We realized that everything has a rate of change relative to everything else. Nothing could change by itself. Think about that once. It is only due to the fact that there are other things in the universe that another thing can experience change at all. If there was only one independent thing in the entire universe, it could not change. It's almost like we all are linked together in some way. Isaac Newton. Another really strange thing about calculus is that it proves Zeno's paradoxes. On the one hand, we prove that change exists and how to measure change, but on the other hand, we prove that change is impossible at its foundation due to something called an infinite regress. You can never get to the first step on a number line since it is infinitely small. If you can't ever get to the first step, how do you ever get to the second, or the third, or the last step? Hell, how do we even possess the location we are currently existing in, giving Euclid's definition of a point is that which has no extension? Parmenides. This kind of reminds me of my theory from 500 years ago, when I said that there is only one immutable, unchanging, eternal reality. After all, isn't there only one universe in its totality? Your calculus proves that if there is only one thing, change can't exist. Why does everyone experience change then? What a mystery. Werner Heisenberg. Yes, existence is so elusive by its very nature. It makes us so uncertain about everything. Alan Watts. It's almost like we need to embrace mystery and paradox as one of the features of God. John Kehoe. I agree with that. I think all of the kindred spirits here in the glass bead game have come to the realization that we can't understand anything about the real foundation of the universe. John Wheeler. This is also amazing to me, since we discover laws that make our lives more understandable, yet we can't understand where these laws come from. Niels Bohr. Plus, every time we discovered a law that applies to on a macro level, we realize that it contradicts laws at the subatomic level. I wonder at what point things change between the two different worlds like that. Zeno. Everything is such a paradox. M.C. Escher. We shouldn't let all this stuff bother us. Remember, it is the artistic nature of being itself that makes this all so interesting. Salvador Dali. I know what you mean, MC. I love contemplating the impossibility of all your paintings. Edgar Allan Poe. Yes, everything is so unexplainable. The raven gloriously flies into the mystery of life, but then vanishes quickly into death, if you really think about the eternity of time. Leo Buscaglia. Given that death is such a mystery, makes life mystery as well in some way. Richard Bach. When we think about death, we realize the importance of life, don't we? Leo Buscaglia. Yes, we realize we all have this great opportunity to love for at least one more day. What more could we ever want? And then the last chapter that I have so far is 1897 AD. D. Johannes Brahms. Well, I'm finally here on my deathbed. My last request is to hear one of my own violin sonatas for the very last time. I sure am going to miss all this. Hubert Perry. In your honor, Johannes, I have made a tribute to you which I call the Elegy of Brahms. This will be played upon my death in 1918, since I recognize you as the greatest artist of all time. No one will ever play this again until 1977. These 2 days will signify the rare beauty in which you brought to this world. Friedrich Nietzsche. Call me crazy if you want, but I think he may even be closer to God than you, Richard. Richard Wagner. Yes, you could say that he truly was an overman. Fyodor Dostoevsky. I want to thank you as well, Richard. Your operas took me out of a deep depression that I had due to an overwhelming feeling of sadness concerning my own existence. Richard Wagner. I'm glad I could help. I must say, though, that I really appreciated your penetrating novels as well. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Thank you. Your kindness is much appreciated. Andre Gregory. You guys are all the pockets of light that I like to talk about. I am so grateful to have all of you part of my little sanctuary in the glass bead game. You are all rays of light in the midst of darkness. Adolf Hitler. I have to agree with you as well. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Hitler? What are you doing here? You are the epitome of evil. Adolf Hitler. I know, but even darkness itself can appreciate the light sometime. When I hear your music and read your works, I actually wish that my insanity wasn't so overpowering that I had to become an evil person. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Don't blame your insanity. You had a free will. Adolf Hitler. You're right. I guess I did enjoy killing all those people in my lust for power. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Your crime and punishment then will be forever banned from the glass bead game. Adolf Hitler. Do I have to burn in hell also? Friedrich Nietzsche. That will be for God to decide. Leave now. It pains me to have a thought of something as disgusting as you. Friedrich Nietzsche. Good job, Fyodor. I hate that fucker for claiming that he wanted to be the overman. My idea of the overman has nothing to do with evil. It has to do with the power of beauty. Fyodor Dostoevsky. I agree. Each and every one of us has the power and the will to seek beauty. John Keats. Ain't that the truth? So that is the end of what I've got so far. 30 pages on my 4th book, and then I do have the cover picked out now, so I can show you that real quick. This is the cover that I picked out, a picture that I took myself watching the sunrise every day. So I hope you enjoyed the video.